Most people use AI completely wrong. They ask ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude to write a generic email or use it to brainstorm ideas. Then they think that's the most that AI has to offer. That couldn't be further from the truth. And people that only use it for that are getting replaced by people that know how to use AI well. If you want a high-income tech career in 2026, you need to go beyond those simple prompts. You need to start designing systems. In this video, we'll cover the 3 critical skills you need to use AI effectively and be competitive in the job market. We're going to talk about how to break down complex business problems so that AI can solve them, high-level automation tools that can connect AI to your workflows, and how to audit machine output to protect the business from costly mistakes. Now, if we're meeting for the first time, my name is Richard, and over the last 14 years at a Fortune 50 tech company, I went from an entry-level analyst to leading a global team that supports a multi-billion-dollar business. Along the way, I've helped professionals like you get ahead in their careers by sharing practical tips and strategies based on real-world experience and what I've seen actually work. If that's the type of content you might be interested in, make sure to subscribe or follow to catch the latest. With that said, let's get to it. So most people use AI to write simple emails or brainstorm ideas. Now don't get me wrong, it's super useful for that. I use it myself for exactly that purpose on many occasions. And really that's only scratching the surface because there's so much more that AI can be used for in helping solve business problems. And if you really want AI to work for you, you have to master a skill called process decomposition. And this is a core concept from my book, Decoding Tech Careers, where I talk about the skills that employers are looking for in an AI world. Now, process decomposition is just a fancy way of saying process breakdown or process mapping. This is the art of taking big, complex, messy business problems and breaking it down into tiny logical steps. Now, before you even write a single prompt into an LLM, you have to deconstruct the problem that you're trying to solve manually. You can do this in 3 steps. First, you define the input and output. Let's say you want to generate a weekly sales report. The input may be a raw spreadsheet from a sales system or maybe from a database, and the output might be a clean 3-bullet summary email for your manager. So now you have a clear start and a clear end. Second is you write down every micro step in between. Don't just write create a report. That's obviously too broad. Instead, you write down every single action that you take. For example, step 1 may be to filter out canceled orders. Step 2 is to sort the sales by region. Step 3 is to calculate the total revenue. List every step in a sequential order. Third, you separate the rules from the judgment. Rules are logical. They're simple instructions. For example, filtering out canceled orders is a rule. An AI can follow rules fairly easily. But judgment requires human values, intuition, domain expertise. An example of that might be deciding what sales trends are actually important to recognize. So you keep the judgment steps to yourself and you offload all the rules-based steps to AI. Once you have your list of logical steps, now you can apply the RTF framework for prompting. This stands for role, task, and format. Now, this is one of many prompt frameworks out there. I like this one because it's very digestible. It's only 3-letter acronym. It's simple to conceptualize, and you really don't need to get that much more complex with it, at least not from the start. So first is the role. You should tell the AI exactly who it should be, which means don't just simply ask it a question, give it a persona. Tell it to act as an expert project manager with 10 years of experience, or maybe an expert data analyst. Doing this helps anchor the logic of the machine to a specific area of expertise. Now that you have the role defined, let's talk about the task. Use the deconstructed steps that I outlined earlier. Again, going back to the, hey, filter out your canceled orders, sort by sales region, calculate total revenue. But this is where all those steps go. Now let's talk about the format. Tell the machine exactly what you want the output to look like. Do you want a 3-column table? Do you want a bulleted list? When you're able to specify the exact layout, you spend a lot less time editing the final output. Now here's an extra important step that most beginners miss, but it's so incredibly helpful. At the very end of your prompt, add this single sentence. Before you begin, Ask me 2 to 3 clarifying questions you may have so we can ensure the result is exactly what I need. The AI stops guessing and instead it serves a little bit more like a consultant. It may ask you about your target audience, your budget, your goals, like any kind of contextual information it might need for you to get the best output possible. And what's really cool is this helps you in turn think about your prompt a little bit differently. It may help you refine it better for the next time. But now we're gonna take it one step further. Let's talk about a basic AI-powered workflow automation. A really good question to ask yourself when you think about your day-to-day work is how much of your work is actually just copying, pasting information and data from one place to another place. For most people, the answer is going to be quite a lot. If you're spending the bulk of your time doing this means you're spending less time doing more valuable work. So if you want to save a ton of time every single week, you need to understand the tools that let your software applications talk to one another. And the best part is you don't need to write code to do this. There's a whole ecosystem of low code or no code platforms that can help you do exactly this. And these are platforms, by the way, that are just as good for experts as they are for beginners. I'm talking about tools like Microsoft Power Automate, Google Workspace Studio, Zapier, NAN, and Make.com. These are generally paid platforms, but they often have free trial versions. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna focus on Google Workspace Studio. I find it to be very beginner friendly, but also because I use G Suite for my entire content creation system. Building on the example earlier of a sales report, imagine you have a data set that exists in a Google Sheet on a Google Drive. With some very basic workflow automation, you can set a timer that says every Monday morning, access this Google Sheet, and then have Gemini analyze it with all the instructions I shared earlier. That will generate some output, and I'd like for that output to be captured in an email draft that gets created and automatically loaded to my inbox. Then once that workflow runs, you magically get a draft in your inbox, and that's your opportunity to then review it, make any edits if needed, and then all you do is hit send. And throughout that process, you didn't write any code. You didn't do any copy and paste. What you did was you designed an AI-powered system. This is what we call AI workflow automation. Now what's cool is once you start seeing your work as a system and series of processes, you start seeing opportunities everywhere. So here's your action step for today. Find one repetitive task where you're constantly moving data from one app to another. Then set up an account with Google Workspace Studio or any of the other platforms that I mentioned. Whatever is most convenient, most accessible to you. I would say for many, it may be Google because a lot of people have Gmail and Google Sheets, etc. It's just simple to get started. But whichever one you pick, try making a link between two apps. This will be your first step in building more and more sophisticated AI-powered workflow automations. And this I would consider to be another critical skill for your career in the future. Now, for all the incredible things that AI can do and what it can generate, we do have to talk about the dangers of blind trust in those AI-generated outputs. AI is a prediction engine. It's not a truth engine. Sometimes it makes things up. This is what we affectionately call hallucinations. Now, compared to 2 or 3 years ago, hallucinations happen a lot less frequently, but they still happen. And when that happens in a real business, that can lead to costly mistakes. For example, if you pass along an AI-generated report to your manager without you checking it, you are taking a huge risk. If there is a wrong calculation in the report, you are the one that gets blamed. This is why the third skill you need to master is auditing. Your job is to act as a human gatekeeper. You don't need to do the manual work of creating and analyzing a spreadsheet. The AI now does that quite well, but you do need to be the editor that signs off on the final output. So here's your quick win for today. The next time you ask an AI to write a complex formula or analyze a data set, don't just take the output as gospel and copy it to something else. First, ask the AI to explain its logic. You can use a simple prompt like, explain the math behind this calculation step by step. Then double check one of the calculations manually. When you build a habit of auditing, you get outputs that are more accurate and trustworthy. And you prove that human judgment is still a very necessary part of this whole AI equation. Now think about everything we've just talked about. You've got process decomposition, where you take in a process and breaking it down into tiny logical steps. You're building AI-powered workflow automations, and you're auditing the outputs. These are going to be the three critical skills that employers are going to be looking for right now in 2026, but also well into the future. But this is just one step of the journey in growing your career. So if you want a more comprehensive step-by-step roadmap on how to build a tech career in an AI-first world, feel free to check out my book, Decoding Tech Careers. You can find the link down in the description or comments below, or check out my other content where I talk about career paths in tech and how to get there. With that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around.